Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Kat, if you don't know me, and this is my daily podcast, YouTube talk show where I talk about all things art, creativity and beauty, and then some other random things along the way. But today's topic is a great one. We are discussing examples of Chinese ornament, and I'm going to be showcasing you two of my most prized possessions. Well, this one's just like, I'm sure it'll come in handy later in my life. Not when I'm dead as an urn, but I just don't, it's not used right now. It's just on the shelf. But this teapot, I'll tell you how I'll do a little story time of how I acquired this teapot. But we're just going to discuss, in fact, I'm just going to hold it right here. We're going to discuss these pieces, why I love Chinese ornament in general, and then we're going to go through one of my favorite online resources for staring at beautiful Chinese patterns, which is called Examples of Chinese Ornament, The Grammar of Chinese Ornament by Owen Jones. It's a very old book, and there's many reproductions around in the world, but also available online on the Internet Archive. And so, welcome to Why I Love Chinese Ornament. This is why I love Chinese ornament so much, because it's simply divine. Do I need to say anything else? The outlines, I'm a fan of quite cartoony style art. When I was drawing when I was younger, I used to outline everything. And art teachers hated that because they love the natural form where, you know, there is no hard defined line. We simply blend into everything around us. I just remember, like, my personal style when I was in school, it was like, I will outline everything and then I find the satisfaction of colouring in between the lines. So fun. But the art teachers were like, no, Kat, you see the apple, it fades into the distance. And I'm like, but miss! But this is why I didn't enjoy art in school. Anyways, Chinese ornaments, you see how everything here is boldly outlined because of the way that they create this pattern into porcelain. They must create a channel in which to pour their glaze, and then they can create these distinct, beautiful colours, which I just... And then the designs of them, like these little swirly things are just so adorable. And then these little monstery guys are just so gorgeous, and they still have these beautiful ornate leaves, which is so fascinating. The shape of these leaves, you see them across culture, because this is like European ornamental leaf work, but you also find it here. And I just think it goes to show that the beauty and the truth of the creator. And these forms, I've mentioned it briefly before, but like the exponential curve, when I was in maths in school, I found the exponential curve one of the most fascinating things. And I couldn't explain why. I was like, why is this just so cool? And it's because it is beautiful. And it is found all across nature. You'll see if you look at just like beautiful plants and trees, and even like the harmony and the ways that our faces, see that curve from my nose round to my eyebrows, the eyeball, this bit of my like eyebrow bone coming off here, the chin, the lips, these all follow, in my mind, it's an exponential curve pattern. That form of curve is just so pleasing to the eye, and there is something so divine about it. I'm pretty sure that's upside down, but the way that they're able to just fit their text into little circles, I think is sick. Their words, their language is like a stamp. Their language is a shape. It's just so cool. Everything about it is just so cool. The colour combination as well, this beautiful cutesy pink. I feel like they take themselves seriously, but they don't take themselves too seriously in terms of colour. There was a point in history in the West, I think, where colours, like fun pinks, blues, pastels, like that wasn't seen as serious, and so they disappeared. But when you go to places, not that I've been to Korea, but like if you go in the interwebs to places like Korea and to like China, then you'll see these very serious palaces and stately homes and buildings and things, and they've got pots inside them or walls outside that are just these bright, like mint green, pink colours. And I just appreciate that those colours never got silly for them. They never became like the kids' colours. They just are so beautiful. You see, even like the use of the blue, the minty kind of green, and then again this outliney pinky red, just bordering with the yellow, like a pale yellow background with these Greek key kind of forms around the border here. So stunning. And then let's not talk about the bottom, but we will talk about the bottom because I think this is gorgeous. Look at that pattern design. It's just gorgeous. And I love how it's like standardized. So like you get little soup bowls like this as well, and then the soup spoons, and it's just this standardized pattern. And I just appreciate it so deeply. This one, you see, it's a bit faded. The color is a bit like less vibrant compared to this one here, which is just perfect. And so that's really, I don't like really have too much to say except for if you want to go and watch YouTube videos about how they actually make this, it's so satisfying. You should go and do it. And if you ever want to make me happy, bring me to a Chinese porcelain. Look at the spout. Look at that symmetry. Oh. Mwah. Bring me to a porcelain shop. Bring me to a window showing Chinese porcelain and I will be a happy cat. Okay, that's just raving and going into some details about this. How did I acquire this beautiful teapot, might you ask? Because it's not a family heirloom. No. I was actually in Totnes in Devon, Cornwall, somewhere down in the foot of the UK. And I was in a charity shop. Yes, a charity shop. And I'm scouting the aisles. Sorry if the sun's distracting you. I'm scouting the aisles. And I just see this like up on a shelf like this. And I go and I'm like, wait, hang on, like this isn't actually real life right now that this is here. And I go and then I grab it, and just as my hand comes to touch it, some other hand comes and is like here reaching for the same thing. And I look, and this woman looks at me and she's like, you're not gonna have that, are you? She's got her hand up just behind my hand. She's like, you're not gonna take that, are you? I was like, yes, I'm buying this. And then she was like, oh no. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I wasn't a Christian yet, but I just knew that the universe was taking care of me. And I was loved because I missed out on this by literally not even a second. It was like a scene out of a movie. And then, only then was I able to get close enough to check the price. There's a little sticker on it, which I actually kept on for like, I'm sorry if this sounds bad, but I kept it on for like a year or two after getting it, even though I was using the teapot, because I just needed proof that this teapot was in fact as cheap as I acquired it for. I got it for £2.50. £2.50. They just didn't know what they had on their hands there. It's got a few chips in the like glaze work here, but it honestly adds to the charm, and it stops like an over preciousness about it. Sometimes when something's like a little bit imperfect, you know, a little bit there, it just makes you a bit more comfortable around it. And so anyways, £2.50 for one of my favorite items that I own in the entire world. This perfect teapot. Pause the thumbnail. Okay, cute. So now let's go to one of my favorite books on the examples of Chinese ornament. I probably would have discovered this book online around a similar time to me acquiring this teapot here. And so let me screen the card now, and I will show you. This is the book. Oh, spoiler alert. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. Okay. This is examples of Chinese ornament from selected objects in the South Kensington Museum. This is by a gentleman called Owen Jones, and I just want, like, this is a guy I would love to meet. Hopefully when I get to heaven, God. Like, actually, my theology is currently in the process of changing. I don't know if I should be saying that. Look at this marbling work. This isn't even about marbling work, but look at this marbling work. Oh my days. Guys, this was not printed. This was not like computerized. This actually existed like for them to print onto. Someone actually created that. And this was not even the main event. This was just for the cover of the book. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay, next. Look at how old that paper is. Oh, I love it. Okay. Examples of Chinese ornament. But I've seen this also be called the grammar of Chinese ornament, I believe, which I think is just really cool. 100 plates by Mr. Owen Jones. I'll take my hand out so you can see my face. Okay, cool. Text. Very good. Here. We have long been familiar. I'll just start reading. We have long been familiar with the power of the Chinese to balance colours, but we were not so well acquainted with their power of treating purely ornamental or conventional forms. And in the chapter in The Grammar of Ornament on Chinese ornament, I was led from my then knowledge to express the opinion that the Chinese had not the power of dealing with the conventional ornamental form. But now it appears that there has been a period in which a school of art existed in China of a very important kind. We are led to think that this art must in some way have had a foreign origin. It so nearly resembles in all its principles the art of the Mohammedan races, that we may presume it was derived from them. That's so interesting. So maybe what he's suggesting is that this kind of like leaf form actually was imported. Interesting. Indian or Persian compositions. This is, of course, in all these works, something essentially Chinese in the mode of rendering the idea. Sorry, okay, this is just so fascinating to me, the history and where they speculate the art traveled from. Like, let's not speculate about how the viruses traveled across continents, and let's not speculate how this type of seagull migrated and started the populace in a foreign land. Let's talk about how patterns and decorative ornamentation traveled across different lands to fuse together to create beautiful art. Stunning. Okay, well, you know, I can leave a link in the bio. You can learn about this all. Oh my God. Okay, and then you know what I love about this book is that he's got like 3 pages of text. As you know, I love a picture book. And then we just have the plates. The plates. And if you don't know what a plate is, in an old book, this was how they printed pictures into the books. They were called plates because I guess they had a plate that they would print it on with. But again, I'm like, I don't even understand how it works. I need to see how they used to make books in the olden days with coloured pictures, because this is just so cool. And so this is just his cover page, and I'm just like, Owen, you're fantastic. You're just fantastic. And we're just gonna enjoy the slideshow as we scroll through these. You know what he's talking about it having an Indian influence here. Therefore, you can see that coming through. But then they just did their own thing, and then they were like, "This, guys, we're Chinese. We are Chinese, and we are sick." Meh. You'll know the ones that speak to me. Just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful, and you see those outlines. Makes my heart sing. That one, you see how that one's just like fine to me. The top bit's nice, but that's just fine to me. Fine, the colour's not too demarcated. Again, fine. Oh, nice if you were brighter. This is perfection. This is what perfection is to me. The inspiration, the balance, the undulating forms spreading out and filling all the corners of the page is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. And I feel like this is something that I was wishing for education in school, in art, and we didn't get, because we got purely organic forms where symmetry was banned and outlines were banned. But I am learning that I am a decorative artist. Someone once told me, like an artist, she once told me, she was like, you're gifted, you're skilled, but you're not very good at composition. She said to me, actually, you're not very creative. And I was like, what are you talking about? But she said you're not very creative because your compositions aren't sophisticated or whatever. And at the time I was like, I don't understand myself enough to not take this as a supreme insult. But now that I'm very comfortable with the fact that, like, I'm a decorative artist, I do not need to be like some political big message, emotion, like heart-wrenching kind of person. I just want to make things pretty, things that make you go like, ooh, nice. That's the kind of artist I am, and this does that for me, and for so many reasons. Cute borders, cute patterns, fine. Hello you. I'm just going to cut through some of these bits here. Look at that. Look at the beauty of that middle section there. I feel like just some nice book covers with this pattern on would be beautiful. I'm trying to think of a way that I could transfer this pattern onto something that could then become a beautiful book cover that felt like quality at the same time. Watch this space, because imagine if your Bible like cover looked like that. Gorgeous. East meets west. East meets Middle East, actually, because the Bible's not from the west, the technical west, the map west. Where even is west? The earth is a sphere, is it not? That is great. That is a great use of monochromaticisms. I feel like this would be a really fun drawing exercise for me because, again, you know, these days in Procreate on our iPad, we have something called assisted drawing, which means that we can get symmetry done for us. But remember, these guys were doing this before they had computers, which means that this level of symmetry was done by hand. And I think what you'll find if you actually mirrored them up, I'm yet to test this theory, but I have a feeling that if you actually exactly mirrored them up, they would not necessarily be exact perfect mirror copies. Maybe I wouldn't put it past the Chinese to have figured out a way to do it. But what I've found when I'm doing my own art is that I will like be meticulous over the slightest detail, but actually a slight error, a slight variation, as long as the overall composition, you achieve that sense of harmony still, you don't even notice it at the end. Even if you look for it, you kind of almost can't notice the variation. And so anyways, art is amazing. It is just an amazing thing. Okay, and then this book is just so long. I'm gonna keep going. Just skip ahead, but so nice. There's just, look how many pages we're even skipping right now. And there's just so much beauty to be found in this world. This is like treasure hunting for me. And I love finding treasure. Makes me feel rich in the soul. Okay, we're gonna end it here because it's just too much goodness. It's just too much goodness. We'll never even discover all the goodness. But I just wanted to share this slice of goodness with you because it makes me so happy and maybe it will make you so happy too. And so with that being said, this was today's video. Tomorrow's video will be something different. So tune back in then. I've been Kat. Follow me on Instagram and subscribe along for this arts and crafts and beautiful journey that we are on. And with that being said, lots of love, God bless you, and peace be with you.